All right. Now, maybe you didn't win the $1,000, but there's still something that you can do. It's to stave off all the problems that we're seeing with inflation. They are saying that we might be seeing the priciest food in 50 years, and inflation is hitting the cost of everything. Well, the folks over at Legacy Precious Metals have some ideas on how you can, if you can't beat inflation, maybe you can do your part to fight inflation. And we're very, very pleased to be joined by Charles Thorngren, the CEO of Legacy Precious Metals, a gentleman who has decades of investing experience. Hello, Charles. Thanks for getting up early with us.
Good morning, Frank. My pleasure. My pleasure.
So, Charles, explain to folks, and I try to communicate regularly what Legacy Precious Metals is, but since you're the head honcho over at Legacy Precious Metals, tell us what it is that you guys do.
You know, we help people invest for the future with precious metals, which seems simple, but we've been doing it for quite some years now, and we do it in a way that helps take each person's situation and tailor a result that works for them. So as we deal with inflation and things, these become more and more relevant.
All right, so let's talk about inflation. Inflation is now hitting, even if you're an online shopper, the prices of everything from apparel to furniture. The prices of goods online have now risen for an unprecedented 15 consecutive months. Inflation's hitting categories like pet products, non-prescription drugs, apparel, furniture, flower arrangements. If it's for sale, chances are it costs more now than it used to be. Give me your take. Is this a trend that you see continuing, or is this a temporary hump that we just need to get over?
You know, I would love to say it's temporary, but really to look for that answer, you have to look at what's being done now to fix the situation. And what we currently have going on with our government, this is a long-term situation. Anything that weakens the dollar causes inflation naturally. You take that weakening and add to it bad economic stances, bad tax reform, bad taxes on things that move an economy, all generate a longer-term scenario. You know, and when we look at, you know, you mentioned the online scenario, and that used to be the place where you went to for discounts.
Right. The
reason you're seeing that increase is really quite simple. The dollar's weaker, and also we ended a pipeline. Gas is up 40% since the election. Everything you buy online has to be transported. Gas prices causes increases in all of those items as well. Shipping isn't free, no matter what they say.
We're also seeing now gas affects the price of everything. Global food prices are up 33% this or last month, August, from a year ago. Vegetable oil, grains, meat, all dramatically on the rise. So where does gold and precious metals come in? Why is investing in that sphere, precious metals, why does that help people ride out the storm of inflation?
Yeah, great question. And that really comes back to one of the things we said a little earlier. Gold is your counterbalance to the dollar. Okay, anytime the dollar gets weaker, gold gets stronger. Inflation really isn't the change of the item itself. The meat doesn't cost more. It's the same process to raise the meat, process the meat, and deliver it to your supermarket. What changes is the dollar value that buys it. And that's where we're suffering. It takes more of our dollars because our dollar has gotten weaker and it's become more worthless. And this is where gold and silver and precious metals step in. They're that counterbalance because it takes more of those dollars to buy that gold or that silver. So you offset that loss of purchasing power with the dollar with the increase in the price of metals. You have a natural increase as demand goes up, but then you also have that dollar increase. It's one of the few vehicles that will give you a return against that loss of purchasing power, plus the additional investment increase in the metal itself. That's why it works so well in this particular scenario.
Now, let's say I'm convinced, and I think a lot of people are going to be convinced by what you're saying, and they want to buy gold and they want to buy precious metals, but they're prepared to invest, but they don't necessarily want to store all sorts of gold in their garage. Is there a way to invest in gold and precious metals without having a storage problem?
Absolutely. We have storage available. We can show you ideas on where to store it. Another thing too is when you look at gold, everyone has this Hollywood idea. We've all watched that bank heist movie, that bank heist show where they're loading these giant bars of gold into the back of the van. Guys, $1 million worth of gold fits in a shoebox. That's the important thing to know.
Repeat that one more time, Charles. $1 million worth of gold fits in a shoebox?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Well, that's wild. I didn't know that. Now, in terms of the policies that are coming out of Washington, one of the entities that we occasionally rely upon to keep inflation in line is the Federal Reserve. What are you seeing out of the Federal Reserve, and are those policies likely to help or hinder inflation?
Great question. And really, it's not what we're seeing out of the Federal Reserve. It's what we're not seeing is really the question. We haven't had an increase in the interest rate for so long now. You cannot run an economy that way. You can't keep releasing cheap money. It just doesn't work. We have more debt. You can't have cheap money on top of it. And you see, the central banks, $200 billion a month in debt purchases. That's the government buying its own debt. And effectively, it's like you using your MasterCard to pay your Visa bill. It doesn't reduce the debt. It creates more debt. And this is what we're seeing. You have a Federal Reserve System that does not want to take the appropriate actions because they don't want to lose the political party in charge now votes is really what it comes down to. There is no reason for cheap money right now. There are no set of economic standards that say money should be cheap now.
So, Charles, how do, let's say people want to invest in gold because they are concerned about inflation. How do they do that? I know they can reach out to Legacy Precious Metals. They can go to legacypminvestments.com, or they can call 866-932-0635. But what do they do exactly?
It really comes down to when you call, one of our representatives is going to show you your options. And everyone's scenario is a little different, but really it comes down to whether you're deciding to make an investment with your IRA or you're trying to make an investment with extra cash that you have. Will determine the methods that we take. You can take an IRA and you can actually do a rollover in it. Still have a no tax scenario, still have all the tax benefits, but change the underlying investment in that retirement account to precious metals. So you get all the benefits with the protection of precious metals versus, equities or dollar-based items. And if you're looking for something outside an IRA, we do that too. We are one of the fastest shipping companies in the industry. You purchase metals from us after you've called and you decided this is what I want to do. I've had a discussion. This is what makes sense for my scenario. You purchase your metals. You send your funds in. We send out your metals. It's really a simple process. It's much like buying anything else online. You're going to get it shipped to you indiscreetly. No one's going to know what it is. It's registered and insured. And then you take it and you store it wherever you deem it to be the safest. And talk to your rep too. He'll show you some ideas and give you some concepts that may work for you if you're storing metals. All
right. Charles Thorngren, Legacy Precious Metals. If you want to learn more, give them a call, 866-932-0635. That's 866-932-0635. Or you can go to the website, legacypminvestments.com, because it's pretty clear this inflation is not going anywhere. And gold and precious metals could be a great hedge against it. I appreciate the time this morning, Charles.